Tennessee is a leader when it comes to AI regulation.
But as the laws pass, there's a new challenge coming, how to enforce them. Our Braden Ross explains how a new company is setting up the infrastructure to hold AI companies accountable and why they chose to launch it right here in Music City.
With generative AI popping up left and right, so are conversations about how to regulate it. And the volunteer state is leading the charge.
Human identity should never be taken without permission. And the Elvis Act gave artists a shield.
With the Elvis Act in 2024, Tennessee became the first state to pass a law preventing AI from using an artist's voice or likeness for commercial gain without their permission. The only problem?
Laws only work when they can be enforced.
Monarrch wants to be the solution. They're a new company working on the first ever AI royalty operating system that starts with defining an artist's name, image, and likeness digitally by looking through their works.
Pull out feature extractions and then match that and create a style fingerprint.
Artists can then use that style fingerprint to set boundaries for if and how they want to allow AI companies to use their likeness to generate content. And it can help them get compensated for AI content based on their work.
As an artist, you should not have to choose between being exploited by AI or excluded from AI. To me, that's a false choice. You should have the right to say yes. You should have the right to say no. You should have the right to set the conditions to define context.
The company unveiled the product at an event in Nashville Monday alongside Senator Marsha Blackburn, who is working on several bills at the federal level to regulate AI. Monarrch says their technology will create a framework that can be built on to make sure those regulations are actually enforced. In Nashville, Braden Ross, WSMV4.